Hi students. So in this video I am going to explain transport of gases. So transport of oxygen, carbon dioxide. So transport of oxygen from lungs to body tissues and the transport of carbon dioxide from body tissues to lungs. So you remember blood is the medium of transport for oxygen and carbon dioxide between lungs and body tissues. So which substance is mainly helps in the transport of gases means that is blood. Okay, remember that is blood. So here transport of oxygen and transport of carbon dioxide. So first we can see that transport of oxygen. Transport of oxygen. Okay, now so here, so transport of oxygen that is in two ways. So what are the two ways? One is transport of oxygen through plasma and transport of oxygen through RBC in the blood. Through RBC in the blood. In the blood. So first transport of oxygen through plasma. So through plasma, remember, only 3% of oxygen carried through plasma in a dissolved state. Okay, now here remember, only 3% of oxygen carried through plasma in a which state? In a dissolved state. Why? Because means here only 3%, very less percentage of oxygen carried through plasma means oxygen does not easily dissolve in water. That is the main reason. Okay, now. So oxygen does not easily dissolve in water. So that's why through plasma only very few percentage, 3%, only 3% of oxygen carried through plasma. Then what about through RBC? Here 97% of oxygen. Okay, now 97% of oxygen carried through RBC in the blood. Okay, now through RBC in the blood. Why? Because means, so here what is the main reason behind? Here presence of hemoglobin. Okay, now here presence of what? Hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is what? It is one type of respiratory pigment which is present in RBC. Okay, now. So hemoglobin, it is iron containing respiratory pigment which is present in RBC, and hemoglobin is consists of, okay, now, hemoglobin is made up of two components. One is protein component that is known as globin. Okay, now one is protein component known as globin, and another one is non-protein or prosthetic component that is known as heme. Okay, now. So here through RBC, how much percentage of oxygen carried? Means that is 97% of oxygen carried through RBC in the blood. Why? Because means, what is the main reason behind? Here presence of which pigment? Hemoglobin. So we know there are mainly 4 different types of respiratory pigment: hemoglobin, hemocyanin, hemoerythrin and chlorochloride. So in our vertebrates blood, so respiratory pigment is that is hemoglobin. So it is one type of respiratory pigment, and it is made up of two components. One is protein component that is known as globin, and another one is non-protein or the iron containing that is prosthetic component, call it as what? Heme. And this hemoglobin consists of 4 polypeptides, and each and every polypeptide is attached to the one heme molecule and one oxygen molecule. Okay, now one oxygen molecule can bind with the one oxygen molecule can bind with the iron or the ferrous at the center part of the heme. So that's why one hemoglobin molecule can transport 4 molecules of oxygen. Very, very important point. One hemoglobin molecule can transport the 4 molecules of oxygen. Okay, now. So compare with other respiratory pigment like hemocyanin, hemoerythrin and chlorochlorine. So hemoglobin has carrying capacity, oxygen carrying capacity is very high, that is hemoglobin. One hemoglobin molecule can transport the 4 molecules of oxygen. Remember, very, very important point. So if it is transport 4 molecules of oxygen, here it is said to be 100% saturation. Okay, now if one hemoglobin molecule can transport the 4 molecules of oxygen, here it is said to be 100% saturation. So if it is transport only 2 molecules of oxygen, here how much percentage of saturation? That is 50% of saturation. Okay, now so one hemoglobin molecule can transport the 4 molecules of oxygen. That is, when it transport the 4 molecules of oxygen and 100% saturation, or if it is transport the 2 molecules of oxygen, that is 50%, or if it is transport the 1 molecule of oxygen, that is 25% of saturation. Clear? And here it means oxygen binding with that hemoglobin. Okay, now binding of oxygen with that hemoglobin is mainly depend upon partial pressure of oxygen. Okay, now binding of oxygen with hemoglobin is mainly depend upon partial pressure of oxygen. Okay, right. So you have to observe in that previous topic, that is in exchange of gases. So at lungs level, partial pressure of oxygen is very high, or at alveoli level, partial pressure of oxygen is very high. So at that condition, at that stages, so oxygen easily bind with that hemoglobin. So when it is bind with that hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. Okay, now at alveoli level, where oxygen tension is high, where oxygen partial pressure of oxygen is high, so at that stage oxygen easily bind with that hemoglobin. Okay, now so to form what? Oxyhemoglobin, which is bright reddish color. Okay, now bright red color. Okay, now but at tissue level, okay, now but at a tissue level, tissues are continuously using oxygen and releases the carbon dioxide. It means at a tissue level, oxygen level is very low. So at that stage, this oxyhemoglobin that is dissociated into, that is separated into hemoglobin and oxygen. That is irreversible reaction. Okay, now it is separated into hemoglobin and oxygen. Okay, remember, so transport of oxygen, that is in 2 ways, through plasma, here only 3%, and through RBC in the blood, that is 97% of oxygen transported from lungs to tissues. Okay, right. So here students, another important point, So not only partial pressure of oxygen, but also other some important factors influence the binding of oxygen with hemoglobin. So what are the other important factors binding of oxygen with hemoglobin means? Like we know, first factor, major factor, that is partial pressure of oxygen and partial pressure of carbon dioxide and hydrogen ion concentration, and one more factor, that is temperature. Okay now, so these are the main important factors binding of oxygen with hemoglobin. Okay, so let us see how they are affected, like oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve, oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. So this oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve mainly explain relationship between percentage saturation of hemoglobin, oxyhemoglobin, and partial pressure of oxygen. Okay now, so it is x-axis and y-axis. So on x-axis we can take partial pressure of oxygen, that is in mmHg, and on y-axis percentage saturation of oxyhemoglobin, right? So percentage of oxygen, that is in mmHg, so we can take like 10 mm, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 and 100 up to. So here also 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 90 and 100. Okay now, so percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen plotted against the partial pressure of oxygen. Okay now, so when percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen is plotted against the partial pressure of oxygen, here we can get one curve, and that curve is known as sigmoid curve. Okay now, so it is which curve? That is sigmoid curve. Okay now, sigmoid curve. So means here partial pressure of oxygen is high. For suppose partial pressure of oxygen, that is 95 mmHg. So in this condition, here the percentage saturation of oxyhemoglobin, that is 97. That is 97. Okay now, (97). Okay now, it means very simple. If oxygen is high, partial pressure of oxygen is high, so percentage saturation of oxyhemoglobin is also high. And some other important factors, let us see what are that important factors. Basically we know at alveoli level, partial pressure of oxygen high and partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low, and hydrogen ion concentration is low, and temperature is also low. So these are the favorable condition for the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Okay now, for the formation of oxyhemoglobin. So what are the favorable condition for the formation of oxyhemoglobin? Oxyhemoglobin is nothing but we know binding of oxygen with hemoglobin. Formation of what? HbO2, that is oxyhemoglobin. So these are the favorable condition for the formation of oxyhemoglobin. PO2 is high at which level? Alveoli level. At alveoli level, PO2 is high and PCO2 hydrogen ion concentration and temperature. So these are the low. So these are the favorable condition for the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Then next, for suppose partial pressure of oxygen, that is 40 mm Hg. So it is 75, like that here, 75. Okay now. So these are the favorable condition for the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Then next you have to observe here the curve, another two important curves like this type. Okay now. Here in this curve percentage saturation of oxyhemoglobin is high, but in this curve percentage saturation of hemoglobin is very low. Why? Because means here at tissue level, partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high and hydrogen ion concentration is also high and temperature is also high, but the partial pressure of oxygen is low. So these are the favorable condition for the dissociation of oxygen with hemoglobin. Okay now. It means, so these conditions are the unfavorable for the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Unfavorable for the formation of oxyhemoglobin means here favorable for the dissociation of oxygen and hemoglobin. Oxygen and hemoglobins, these two are completely separated, dissociation. These conditions are favorable for the formation of oxyhemoglobin, and these conditions are unfavorable for the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Unfavorable for the formation of oxyhemoglobin means that is favorable for the dissociation of oxygen and hemoglobin. Okay now. So you have to observe. So during these conditions, okay now, during these conditions, so this sigmoid curve is shift away from that y-axis to its right angle. Okay, now you have to observe. During these conditions, sigmoid curve shift away from that y-axis to its right angle. You have to observe its right angle. Okay, now it's a right angle. So it is known as sigmoid curve or oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. So this curve is mainly explain the role of other some important factors. Role of the other important factors like partial pressure of oxygen, temperature and hydrogen ion concentration. Okay now. And the effect of PCO2 and effect of hydrogen ion concentration on the oxygen affinity of hemoglobin, that is known as Bohr effect. Okay now, that is known as what? Bohr effect. So it is oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve. And another important point, 100 ml of oxygenated blood can transport the 5 ml of oxygen under normal condition. How much ml of blood? 100 ml of oxygenated blood can transport the 5 ml of oxygen to the tissues under normal condition. Okay, right. Thank you, students.